Just a quick update from the Philippine Star. Military vows to eliminate group behind the Eastman kidnapping, the American that was kidnapped by four people with guns, rifles here, about a month or so ago. And this is November, end of November 2024. They've killed some of the group already, but let's get into the story here. Military has vowed to eliminate the group that seized American citizen Elliot O'Neill Eastman, who remains missing since the kidnapping more than a month ago. A military official yesterday said the kidnappers were composed of members of a local crime group and former followers of slain Abu Sayyaf, that's Islamic terrorist, sub-leader Farouji Indama. The discovery of the rising kidnapping ring came following continuous investigation and an encounter in Barangay Canacan in Cabasalan, Zamboanga, Sibugay last week that killed 8 suspects. So they had an encounter and they killed 8 suspects. I think in addition to a few they killed earlier, I believe, and a couple that turned themselves in. So not a small group. Brigadier General Elmo Sudario, Chief of Army's 102nd Brigade, said some of the 8 fatalities took part in the kidnapping of Eastman in Cebuco, Zamboanga del Norte on October 17th. So anyway, they have identified the group, apparently. They have, last week, they killed 8 of the people in that group, and apparently it is a relatively new group, and you'll find that these, in fact, around the world where there are groups of terrorists, where there are groups that want to separate themselves from the state, set up their own state, country, region, take control of an area. You will find disagreements within a group, and here, especially here in the Philippines, you have families, loyalty to families. You have clans, the larger clan-related relatives. I think that's what that would be. You have tribes who may speak different languages, and these groups can be armed, and anyway, one disagrees with other leaders, people in the group, about what they should do, and they break off and form their own group. And well, now how do we get money? None of us has jobs, so we need to extort money from the villagers, from the Filipinos, other Filipinos. We need to extort if there's any businesses, plantations. We need to force them to pay us tax, extort money from them, or we'll burn their trucks and kill their employees. And that's what happens occasionally, more so in southwestern Mindanao. But you have groups of NPA, who are the armed group of the Communist Party here in the Philippines. They have decreased substantially over the years. There are still a few places, and just the other day I read about, I think a few NPA turned themselves in, forget where it was, Negros, over on Negros Island perhaps. And they're not usually out in the towns and the cities. They are up in the hinterlands, up where the people don't get much news, don't get a whole lot of government interaction, don't get government help, and people go up there with their propaganda and say, look, all the city folks getting all the benefits, and you folks aren't getting any of that. You need to join us, and we'll have a revolution, and we will demand certain things from the government. And anyway, since I've been here 9 years in Cebu City, the kind of the center area of the Philippines, and I have seen. I've been watching this. I read 3, 4, 5 Philippine newspapers and a lot of international newspapers every day. And I've seen they have had clashes, a number of different places, and they have decreased the numbers. Two things have happened. They've had the clashes, they've killed some people, they've arrested some people, but probably even more than that, many NPA members have turned themselves in, and I think there are certain incentives. The government gives them a certain amount of money. They help train them for jobs, find them jobs, various things like that. So there are incentives for them to join the larger community that isn't at war. Anyway, the same thing with the Muslim groups down there. You have a number of different families, clans, tribes that do not especially get along with each other. They, for whatever reason, personality conflicts, different goals, but it's not like there's just one major group who has control over everything that's going on down there. You've got families fighting over land. They might be fighting over land. They even fighting over fishing rights in certain area. They try to control the sea in their area, and you can't fish here unless you get our permission. So a lot of things going on down there and around the Philippines. The great thing is that 95% of the Philippines is very, very safe. I don't know percentage-wise. I don't know how accurate that is, but the vast majority of the Philippines is safe for tourists. You want to stay out of the no-go zones. The State Department puts out information about areas you shouldn't go. They're really quite broad in their discussions, but ask the locals. Ask the locals. Is it safe to go up into the mountains? To go to this lake over here? Generally, it is. But just like any place in America, you've got gangs from Venezuela coming into many of the cities in the U.S., taking over apartment buildings. Gangs from Mexico, drug gangs, controlling much of the U.S. border. In fact, is what when I lived in Arizona, read a couple of articles where the drug cartels control. Southern Arizona is very rural, pretty remote, and these drug cartels, they've got landing strips where their small little planes can fly in, drop off their drugs, and the cartels have people watching. They've got people up in the mountains watching to see what kind of vehicles coming in. Is anybody wandering around that shouldn't be there? So yeah, you need to know your risks wherever you are. Anyway, I'm going to end this. That's just all that we know at the present time. So at least they have identified a group, apparently. So anyway, we'll see you next time. Safe travels to you all.